What's up guys, Wilder Wednesday, coming at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, I want to talk to you about Brewguard Jeroboam, the fusion that's coming in the game very soon, starting Monday, I believe. And wait a minute, didn't we just finish a fusion? That's right, we just finished Thor, and then they hit us up with a Titan event, and I don't know about you guys, but it bled me dry. And I don't feel like doing another fusion, particularly because I don't find this champion to be all that enticing. Now, when he first got leaked, it seemed like perhaps, maybe, he was a champion designed to counter armanz. And you know what? It doesn't seem like he does a good enough job of that. You know what it does a better job of countering armanz? Well, if you're in live arena, you just ban him. That's all you got to do. And if you're not in live arena, well, you can bring your own armanz and you can make him faster. Or you can just avoid him. And that's about it. You can go faster, you can have a whole bunch of resistance, maybe. It's easier to get accuracy than it is to get resistance, so probably not your best bet. So if he's not a counter to armanz, then perhaps we can use him in Hydra. And there have been a couple videos out there that say, well, he's really good at increasing turn meter and going again, and increasing turn meter and going again, and you know what that does? It wastes all your turns because there's this little thing called a turn count. And once you get to 1500 turns in Hydra, you're done and you can't do any more damage. Now, perhaps if you are kind of an early mid-game account, maybe he can help you in one of these two areas. That's very possible, and if you have the resources and don't mind going for him, that's fine, but a lot of us spent a lot of resources going after the Feyhammer Titan event. Now, as you can see, I'm only 75 points short. I'm going to get that tomorrow as soon as the fusion warm-up ends. I'm going to get those last 75 points. So as soon as that's done, that's great. Now, I got very lucky. I did one pull of the Deck of Fate, and I got 90 points, which meant that I didn't have to do the Dungeon Divers or the Ice Golem. But I did do a lot to get to that 5-star for my Thor. In fact, I had to do 2 summoning events for the Thor fusion, and then 2 summoning events for the Feyhammer event. And so that leaves me, I know, this is going to look like I have a decent amount of shards, but quite frankly, I am saving my void shards, hoping that one day I will have enough shards for a guaranteed void Lego. I'm hoping that they wait to do it. I'm hoping that that'll happen after I get like the 110, 120 void shards necessary. So I'm gonna need Plarium to hold off a few months for that. 2-3 months, however long it takes to get 70 more void shards. I'm certainly not going to be using primal shards just for a fusion, but I was at over 200 ancient shards and I blew through all of those. I only used a few sacred shards. I've been very diligent about saving these, and there's a reason why I'm saving them, and it's not so that I can do a fusion for kind of a mediocre champion. And I'm not saying that Brewguard is bad. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's necessary. Like, you could use him, but I have better options. And I think most accounts have better options. And even if you don't, you probably have other champions that you'd rather work on. I'm guessing. Now, if you're really excited about Brewguard, let me know in the comments so I can find out. I still have a couple days to change my mind, but I don't think I'm going to. Because what I'm going to do instead is allegedly there's going to be another Deck of Fate event where you can get Freyja guaranteed. Now, I'm suspecting that it's going to take 20 Sacred Shards, which is a lot. But I've been saving for this reason specifically. So instead of using probably half those shards on a champion that I don't really care about, I can just pull some Sacred Shards. I'll probably get a legendary or two along the way. And then I will also get Freyja. And then I can save my resources for a better fusion. Because someday, whether that's going to be in November, in December, whenever, maybe next year, eventually, I suspect that they're going to have a mythical fusion. I don't know. I wish I knew the date. I wish I knew when to save up. But I suspect it's going to take a lot of resources. And I don't have a ton of resources right now. My gems are pretty low. My silver is fairly low. And my shard count, other than saving for guaranteeds, is pretty low. Particularly my ancient shards. I need to save those back up. Now, what am I going to do instead? What is better than doing a fusion for a legendary? Well, I tell you, there's a few things. One is I'm going to be farming a lot of Minotaur because I have a lot of champions that I don't have time to build because I'm always too busy doing fusions. So I'm going to be running a lot of Minotaur, except for when there is an event for the event dungeon. We still have 3 weeks and 4 days left of the event dungeon, and I have been grinding this as hard as I possibly can. Every time that there is a tournament for the event, because I'm going hard after this pinpoint stuff, because I think it's an amazing gear set that certain creators have undervalued and some have properly valued. I think that it's incredibly valuable. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to get amazing pinpoint gear. If you look at my pinpoint gear, like, I'm keeping a lot of stuff that for other sets that have been around in the game longer, maybe I wouldn't be keeping it for. I'm just trying to get the best sets, but the hard part is finding the right accessories, because there's 15 factions and all kinds of different hero or champions. Like, you got to get accessories for, for support champions, for defense champions, for nukers, all these different kinds of champions that you need to get accessories for. And maybe you want to build multiple champions in pinpoint within a certain faction, and that can be quite difficult. But I am trying to get as much of that gear as possible, and I can't be doing that if I have to run dungeons that I don't care about. I don't really need a ton of gear from Ice Golem. I don't need a ton of gear even from Dragon or Fire Knight. And right now, it's a terrible time to be running Spider when you should be running the event dungeon. Now, I was fortunately able to finally get a team that I'm happy with at stage 30. For a few weeks, I was running stage 28, and even that wasn't a very successful team. I was able to, I'll show you the team. It won't surprise you. We got Seer, Arbiter, Lydia, we got Newt, and the key for my team was actually Armanz. Once I added him in, everything worked out for me I'll show you the setup in case you want to know. For Seer, Harmaburn, of course, Arbiter, Mentor of Heroes, Lydia, we're all about getting the decreased defense, the weaken, strength, and increased speed, all that. Newt, I am starting him off with the counterattack just for extra buffs and debuffs for Seer to get rid of, and then armanz, of course, the greatest hit. So that's my team, if that happens to help anybody out. But I'm focusing more on this right now than on a fusion that's just going to drain more resources. Because, quite frankly, the Feyhammer Titan event, that took a lot away from my account, and it's worth it because I think Thor is actually a great champion. I just don't think that Brewguard Jeroboam is it. I don't think he's the guy that is worthy of my resources. And I don't skip a lot of fusions. It's the first one I've skipped in quite a long time, possibly back to maybe Worm Eater, who I skipped on purpose, and then of course I summoned him a couple months back. I skipped like Loriaka. I only tend to skip fusions that I think are kind of bad or mediocre. The only one that I really regret not doing is Lathanaril, because he's actually very good in Hard Fire Knight, but even him I don't technically need. Like he's just very good at it. But that's my reasoning for why I'm skipping this fusion. I still have a day or two to change my mind, but it's probably not going to happen unless you let me know in the comments that there's actually some brilliant reason. But I'm just saving these shards. Realize you can't. There you go. You saw I have 22 sacred shards, and I'm going to be saving them. I guess that would have been a better way to do that. I'm saving those for Freyja, and having one summoning video is going to be a lot easier than getting those fragments for a champion that I probably wouldn't even use. So let me know what you think about this fusion. I know that a lot of people in the comments of other YouTubers videos have said that they just were really burnt out from all the Thor fusion and Feyhammer, and I think this is a skip. That's what I would recommend, but you don't have to not do it. Like, if you have the resources and you want a legendary champion, go for it. Maybe you see a viable use on your account, and I'd love to hear about that. I just feel like if you don't have the resources, this is not one to push hard for. So let me know what you think about this. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Weather Wednesday. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can come back and watch more Raid Shadow Legends content. See ya!